Najib Mikati is back as Lebanon's prime minister. He received the most support from members of parliament on Thursday after last month's legislative elections. The billionaire businessman took power less than a year ago, but little has changed since. Then, like now, Mikati promised to stop the years-long economic and financial collapse.
We must cooperate to save our country and our people from the crisis in which they are suffering. We must put our differences aside, and we no longer have the luxury of time and drowning in conditions and demands.
The task now is to form a government in Lebanon that usually takes time, as political players compete for their share of executive authority, at a time the country needs an economic recovery plan that involves fighting corruption in state institutions.
The government that has to implement all kinds of changes, reforms, decrees that will be painful, that will affect the interests of powerful players. So they all want to be sure that they can put a foot in the door or a stick in the wheel when their interests are touched or not respected.
There's another factor raising the stakes. In October, Parliament must elect a new president. And if no individual gets the support of at least two-thirds of MPs, the incoming government will have to assume executive power by proxy.
Parliament is polarized, fragmented. If there is no international consensus, if there is no modus vivendi between the regional powers, it will prove extremely difficult to find a president to succeed Michel Aoun. In that case, the government will become de facto in charge of leading the country with exceptional prerogatives.
2 of the last 4 years were spent under a caretaker administration with limited powers as people faced multiple crises. But even when there was a government in office, politicians failed to address the economy's freefall. The state has all but collapsed. It's struggling to provide services, and the public sector was barely functioning even before an open-ended strike was declared 2 weeks ago. Employees are demanding better pay because their salaries have lost value. All the while, the political establishment seems to be focused on sustaining power. Mikati's return is not a new era in Lebanese politics, but the nation could be facing an even bigger challenge ahead. Zeina, Khodr, Jazeera, Beirut.